Members to be the 10-minute speaker, we call them, is Chris Renwick. He's going to talk on a very interesting subject called dumbing down. Would you welcome Chris?
Good morning, can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, this topic came about because I got stirred up by Keith Ross and Peter McGregor at a lunch. I've been accused of being a grumpy old man. It may be true, but I doubt it. But nothing gets on my goat more than the dumbing down of society. You see it everywhere, in different forms, in our dress, in education, and in politics. It transcends into political correctness and into political landscape. Are we a nation of slobs? Travel overseas, across the crowds, in just about any hotel lobby or airport, pretty much anywhere on the planet, you can spot the Aussie. They're the ones dressed as if they're at a Pattaya beach bar or a kid at a picnic, singlet and thongs, yobbos. For those fortunate enough to visit executive club lounges in Asia, the experience and privilege is ruined by the very obvious presence of Australian young and middle-aged males oblivious to dress standards required in such lounges. In defence of Australian men, I should say that they're not the only ones who like shorts, although they could do with a better standard of shorts. The Germans have a fondness for shorts, socks and sandals. The Americans have an inexplicable liking for baseball caps, which they wear in every conceivable social situation. This non-fashion habit has spread to the heads of men worldwide. Australian women are not immune. The miniskirt is still in vogue and finds itself in sacred places like the Sistine Chapel or Cambodia's Angkor Wat, to the horror of the locals. Not so long ago, 9 Australian blokes got themselves arrested in Malaysia for stripping down in public. Doing it in Australia is bad enough, but you have to be really dopey to do it in an Islamic country. In London, Harrods now bans clothing which may reveal intimate parts of the body or which portray offensive pictures or writing. Now, don't get me started on tattoos. You wonder how it's come to this. People don't seem to understand that clothing isn't just clothing. It can be an important symbol of respect. Closer to home, at our golf clubs, at least those with standing, once, if you wore shorts, you had to wear long socks. Then it was relaxed to short socks, white, but with a club monogram. Then it became just short white socks. Then short socks of any colour. Then sockettes. And now, so far as I can see, no socks at all seems acceptable. To dine in the main dining room used to require a jacket and tie. Then it was relaxed to just a jacket, and now it seems that any casual clothing will do. In my last executive role, which was in Perth, the human resource people came to me and submitted that we should introduce the Ernst & Young dress code. Now, the EY dress code was more relaxed than the standard and then current suit and tie. Perth can be very hot, and being the reasonable person that I am, I agreed, on the condition there was to be no denim and there was to be no midriff flesh on view, with or without belly button stud. If this occurred, we would revert to the then current dress code. The new system lasted 10 days. Enough about dress. We've heard a lot recently about the nation's shortcoming in education. It seems we keep slipping in the global scales. Gonski 1 hasn't worked, we now have Gonski 2. I suspect it won't be long before we got Gonski 3. The term dumbing down originated in the US in the 1930s. It was movie slang used by screenplay writers to appeal to those of little education or intelligence. Well, they've done a great job. Dumbing down of America has led to the dumbing down of Australia. The diminishment of critical thought, the trivialising of meaningful information, culture and academic standards are now part of our life. Fake news or alternative facts, disseminated by the new technology, have taken over. There's no room or time for fact-checking or critical analysis. In years gone by, and some of us might remember this, people received a solid, well-founded education. Merit certificate was a good standard. Leaving certificate was sufficient for entry into the public service. Classes tended to be large, but the teaching generally was good. Numeracy and literacy were not areas of concern. Teachers were well trained in the teachers' colleges and their pay was not too bad. The environment pre-TV provided fewer distractions. There were no iPhones, discipline wasn't such an issue, there was more respect for teachers, and the economic imperatives meant that a focus on learning the skills to get a job was a key driver. Today, classes are much smaller, but numeracy and literacy are real issues of concern. And I think of the kids today doing their NAPLAN test. There's this great horror about NAPLAN. People don't want to see how they rate against the world. The lack of grammar or its misuse is obvious. Punctuation seems to be a thing of the past. The teachers' colleges are gone. Classroom skills are not a priority. Discipline today is a much bigger issue. Pay is very poor, and entry levels to teaching are quite low. The brightest and the best don't go teaching. The old adage applies: if you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. Doesn't it drive you mad when you see people crossing a road, oblivious to the world, either texting or with fixed gaze on their mobiles? It's a wonder the road toll isn't greater. What do we expect? Well, all of this flows into the political landscape. Politics is a serious business, dealing with serious issues, and should be taken seriously. So why is politics such a source for the inane, the illogical and the dumb? And why are politicians so on the nose? Parliament, our national institution, used to be a place of respect. In the modern world, however, a female member can address the chamber on her feet while at the same time breastfeeding her baby. It's true. Even more recently, in the House of Representatives, a member used his speech to propose marriage to somebody in the Speaker's gallery. Is this the kind of respect our Parliament deserves? Yes, we're not saying who it was.
Happens to have a name like me.
Is this the kind of respect our institution deserves? Not in my book. Churchill once said that the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. The politician's glib 10-second bite is designed for the dumbed-down audience. But I should say some of the best gems come from Parliament and politicians. Try this. At a noisy meeting at Wonthaggi, someone yelled at Bob Menzies, "Tell us all you know, pig iron, it won't take long." To which Menzies replied, "I'll tell you all we both know, it won't take any longer." As a university student, Gough Whitlam's chosen sport, like Roger, was rowing, which he described as the perfect preparation for politics. You can face one way while moving in the other direction. He was also famous for his interjection to a country party MP who had just exclaimed that he was proud to be a country member. Quick as a flash, Gough interjected, "Yes, we remember." Try some of these statements. Our former Trade Minister, Kep Enderby, said, "Traditionally, most of our imports come from overseas." Or these from Dan Quayle, the former US Vice President under George W. Bush. "The global importance of the Middle East is that it keeps the Far East and the Near East from encroaching on each other." Or another, "It isn't pollution that's ruining the environment, it's the impurities in our air and water that are doing it." And again, "If we don't succeed, we run the risk of failure." God help America. And one from George W. Bush himself. "Our enemies are innovative and resourceful, and so are we. They never stop thinking about new ways to harm our country and our people, and neither do we." Politics and politicians are reflective of society. So in a dumbed-down world, we shouldn't expect anything different. I think you're right, I am a grumpy old man.
Chris, you laid them in the aisles this morning. We really don't think you're a grumpy old man because you told some great stories today. Thank you very much for sharing all those with us and the preparation you've done in your talk. Well done to Chris.